Do you care too much about your Toyota Tacoma? Does every little thing bother you? Everybody, how are you today? Pretty good here. I'm out cruising around in my Toyota Tacoma, and I had a question the other day, or somebody made a comment on the channel, basically about caring too much about their Toyota Tacoma, worrying about everything, worrying about it all the time. And you know, I used to be like that, to be quite honest. When I would get home after driving my car, my truck, whatever, I'd be looking around, making sure that nothing happened while I was out. I didn't get any stone chips, that maybe a bird did its business on my hood or something like that, because I used to worry. You know, bird droppings are acidic, depending on what they're eating, right? Like berries. And if they drop that on your hood, it can eat through your clear coat. Did you know that when insects are hit, you know, when they die on your truck, as they decompose, there's actually acid or gases released that can damage your paint. That's why you should keep the bugs and stuff off of your paint. Did you know that? Well, I used to worry about all that stuff too. I still do somewhat, although I gotta say, and my truck's dirty condition would certainly attest to this right now, but I'm not as bad as I used to be, you know. Right now, my truck is dirty, and I'm sure there are bug things on the front of it, and there might even be some bird stuff somewhere. I don't know. It's a little dirty on the inside. It doesn't bother me as much anymore, and I think it's probably, I just kind of got sick of screwing with it, to be honest with you. You know, I used to wash my truck at least maybe once every 3 or 4 days, and I used to hate to take it out if the weather was going to be bad. And that wasn't fun in Ohio, right? Because in Ohio, in the winter, you know, you've got snow and ice and salt, that road salt. If you live in a winter climate, then I'm sure you know what road salt is, right? What about driving through a new subdivision, or maybe one of those landscaping crews were out and dropped mud and stuff all over the road? Used to drive me nuts. I used to be a puddle dodger. You know, I'd be driving down the road and dodging puddles as I'm driving along if it had just rained or if it was just drying up, you know. Used to drive me insane. As far as parking lots go, well, that was a whole nother thing, man. I mean, you go to a parking lot and it's a crapshoot anyway, right? I mean, no matter where you park, chances are you might have somebody park next to you, because people like to do that. And some people do it just to be spiteful, right? They know that you're parking out in the South 40 because you don't want anybody parking next to your truck, so they'll pull in next to you anyway. Now, that doesn't mean that they're pulling close to you or anything, but they might just park in the space right next to your truck. You know, there were times, I remember being out in restaurants, and maybe you guys do this too, I don't know, but I would sit by a window, park my truck where I knew or hoped I was going to sit, right? Didn't always work out. But I would park near a window so that I could keep an eye on my truck, right? And I remember a couple of times somebody would pull in next to my truck, get out, and I'm watching the whole time, right? Got those eagle eyes on them, making sure that they're not hitting your truck. And it never happened. It didn't happen. But when they came in, I actually went out a couple of times and moved my truck to a different spot away from people. That's how crazy it was, you know. Taking your vehicle in for service, oh man, that's a whole nother thing, right? Because you're going to turn the keys over to somebody, and they're going to take your truck, they're going to get in it, and you don't know what's going to happen. And even when they're done, this used to make me cringe. You know, you go to pick it up, and they would pull it out in the parking lot somewhere, right? I mean, your truck is somewhere there, but they always pulled it in next to somebody else. And I would worry that somebody else was going to get there before I did and open the side of their door rather into the side of my truck or something, you know? Things like that would drive me nuts. And I got to say, I can't say it's all without merit, that my concerns were all without merit. There's a couple of times I've had things happen. You know, I had a Honda Civic that I took in for some kind of electrical gremlin, I don't know. But I took it into Honda, and I got a call that day that the lot guy had actually driven my Honda into one of those overhead doors. It was coming down or going up, who knows? He was probably in a hurry. It was a manual transmission. Maybe he slipped off the clutch. I don't know. But he ran into the door, dented my hood, scraped up my paint. It required body work, right? That drove me nuts. That car was only, I think I had it for maybe a month, maybe a couple weeks. It wasn't very long. That was a drag. And then there was another time. I was at a movie theater, and I parked up against a one of those little barriers, you know, where they plant things or whatever. There's grass, you know, there's a curb. And you get up against those as far as you can, because I'm not going to hit the curb, and I know there isn't going to be anybody on the other side of me, right? So I pull up against one of those. I park. We go in. We watch the movie. We come out. And then the horror story begins, right? There's a note on my windshield. And, you know, when you see a note on your windshield, typically it's not just your neighbor saying hello, if they leave a note at all. It's bad news. And it was. And fortunately for me, this was a good guy. His kid on the other side of the vehicle had opened the door. It was a very windy day. The wind caught his door and blew his door into the side of my car and left a big gouge. This was another vehicle that I had very short period of time. It was 2 months. And he said, when I called him, he left his number. He said that he looked at it and he noticed that there was a temporary tag on it, and I hadn't had the car very long. It must not have been 2 months. It wouldn't have been that long. Maybe that was the 2 weeks. But he saw the temporary tag, the date on the tag, and he said he just couldn't leave with that much damage. He did say that if it had been less, he probably wouldn't have left the note. I'm thinking, well, that's nice. Then it would have still been my problem. But anyway, good Samaritan, good for him. He left the note, went through the whole insurance thing, and had it taken care of. But still, there's body work on a brand new vehicle, right? I don't know what it is. Just bad luck for me. So the question I was asked on the channel was, do you ever get over this? And I would say probably not. I mean, I've had, I don't know, a bazillion new vehicles and stuff, and I'm still like that. Now, I can't say that I would leave a restaurant to go out and move my vehicle if somebody, you know, pulled in next to me. And I mentioned in the beginning that I don't run around the truck, you know, with a magnifying glass looking for problems after I've been out. And I don't wash it every time it gets dirty. So, you know, I guess it does lighten up a little bit. And I think maybe that's also a factor of age, you know. I just don't want to spend the time on it like I used to. You know, there's other things to be doing. For instance, I could be making videos for you guys instead of washing my truck. And that's what I'm doing. So no, I don't think you really ever get over it. I do think that that it does lessen some as you get older, and that's the key as you get older. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know if you're as crazy as I am or was with your truck. Do you worry about it a lot? Are you afraid that something's going to happen? How far do you go to make sure it doesn't? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, if you're interested, I have 2 other channels. The first is RobMotive JT, all about my 2020 Jeep Gladiator. And the second is RobMotive Civic, all about my adventures with the Honda Civic Sport Hatch and the Honda Civic Type R. Check those out if you would. Subscribe if you like them. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there.